Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike, and this is the Bullish Bear Show, where we give you the bare truth about money, markets, and making your way through this crazy world. So, most investors spend their time trying to find the perfect stock, okay? The strongest company, the best opportunity, and ultimately the idea with the most upside. But finding a great stock is it's only half the decision. You can be right about the company and still damage your portfolio by owning too much before the evidence is there, okay? Because these are two different questions. What should I own? And how much does it deserve? And so by the end of this video, you'll have a simple framework for deciding whether a stock deserves no position, starter position, normal position, extra capital, or a trim. Okay? Not based on a magic percentage, just based on what the stock has actually earned. So a good company doesn't automatically deserve a large position. You can be right about the long-term opportunity, but wrong about the actual valuation. You can understand the industry, but choose the wrong company, okay? And the company can execute well while the stock still struggles because expectations were too high to begin with. Or you can just simply be early, okay? Stock selection asks, is this opportunity attractive? Position sizing asks, how much risk should I take while I'm finding out? And that distinction matters because, conviction isn't evidence. Liking a company may earn it a place on your watch list, but it doesn't automatically earn a large percentage of your portfolio. For me, every stock should fall into one of five categories, okay? No position, the idea just hasn't earned any capital. A starter position, where I want exposure, but meaningful uncertainty still remains. A normal position, where the role and evidence are strong enough for the investment to matter. And additional capital, okay? This is new information that's improved my decision. Okay, and lastly, the trim. The position has become larger than its ultimate role, evidence, or the risk justifies. These categories aren't permanent. A stock can move forward when the case improves, and it can move backward when the evidence weakens. Okay, the key is that the position size should respond to the investment case and not to the, conviction, excitement, hope, or frustration. And the reason for this is oversizing. I mean, it does more than increase a financial loss. It can ultimately change your whole portfolio behavior. Okay, you start watching every tick. Normal pullbacks feel like an emergency. You defend the company instead of reviewing it. You start to average down, just instead of admitting the entire idea was wrong. Okay, but reducing a position and then abandoning the whole thesis, like they're not the same thing, okay? You can still believe in a company while admitting that you put too much money in too fast, okay? Here's a useful warning sign, I guess. When normal volatility prevents you from thinking clearly, the position is probably already too large, okay? The correct size should allow the investment to matter without allowing it to control you emotionally. Okay, so how do we figure this out? I try to put everything through a position size test, and the framework ultimately is roll, proof, damage, and reserve. Okay, roll is just what job does the stock perform. Proof is what is the idea actually earned. Okay, damage is what happens to the portfolio if I'm wrong, and then the reserve is ultimately, will capital remain available if the opportunity improves itself. Those four questions can connect a company to a portfolio, and they prevent exciting ideas from receiving the same commitment. And they give you a reason for changing the size later if the information changes. So, if you appreciate this kind of practical investing framework built from real decisions instead of perfect hindsight, consider subscribing to the channel, smash the like button, and share it with somebody that you know. Now, let's apply the framework. So the first question is the role, okay? Why does the stock belong in the portfolio to begin with? Is it a long-term core holding, a cyclical opportunity, maybe a smaller speculative idea, or a source of income? Okay, without a clear role, there's no strong basis for a large position. I'll use TXN as a good example since we've been using it a lot lately. Yeah, I wasn't interested in TXN because it was a semiconductor stock that had fallen. It had a potential job as a broad power semiconductor anchor in the actual, beast portfolio. The role, it just justified further research and ultimately ended up in an initial position. Now, if we compare that with Lilly, I respected the company and I wanted exposure, but I refused to chase it. At those prices, for me, the correct position size was zero. A company can be excellent and still not deserve your capital today. Don't fall into that trap. Second question is, the proof. How much of the investment case has actually been demonstrated? Has the company executed? Is the valuation attractive? Has the market started rewarding any of the results? Are we basing everything on future outcomes? Is the setup improving? Or are you still depending mainly on what might happen, like I was just saying? This is where a starter position makes sense, okay? So like, again, using the same example, my one share TXN purchase gave me exposure without pretending that I had found the exact bottom. When I bought Micron after it bounced in its gap zone, that controlled Micron starter, allowed me to take some exposure during broad market weakness. A starter just says the idea deserves my attention and some capital, but it hasn't earned my full commitment. Okay, it allows you to participate while keeping consequences controlled. The starter's definitely not a promise to keep buying. Additional capital still has to be earned. So the third question is going to be damage. Okay, what happens to the portfolio if my decision's wrong? Suppose the stock falls 40%. It represents 5% of the portfolio. Then the overall portfolio loses roughly 2%. Now let's say it represents 20% of the portfolio. The same decline costs you roughly 8%. Same company, same decline, different damage. And that's why confidence can't be, the entire sizing process alone. You also have to consider volatility, industry exposure, and whether several holdings depend on the same thing. Okay, I call that overlap. 4 different ticker symbols don't provide much protection if all 4 are driven by the same risk scenario, okay? The question is not only how much could I make, it's also what am I allowing this decision to cost me? The fourth question is reserve, okay? After the first purchase, will you still have capital available if the decision improves? For new investors, this is the hardest one by far, okay? You want to put all the money in right away, and then when you see it drop $1, you want to put all the rest that you have in right away, okay? Committing to the entire planned position immediately removes all flexibility you have. You can't take advantage of a better valuation or an earnings pullback. You can't respond to a broad-based correction, and you can't increase the position after the company produces better evidence for you, okay? This is why I built, TXN, ENTG, BE, well, anything I build is typically in stages, okay? That helps avoid FOMO. It helps me pre-plan all my entries and exits. That's just the smartest way to invest across the board. I'm not saying I'm the smartest. I'm just saying that having a plan pays off in the end, okay? The first purchase, it doesn't usually use every dollar that might eventually belong to the idea, okay? But reserve capital is not permission to buy every decline either. Again, a lower price is not automatically better evidence. The thesis, the valuation, and ultimately the market behavior still have to support the ad. So cash just gives me optionality, and that optionality is part of the position sizing system. So one of the most common questions I get asked is, when does a position earn more? When do I add? Well, look, a starter should become a normal position only when the decision improves. That might mean, the company delivered strong results, the valuation becomes more attractive, the technical setup begins confirming the overall thesis, the broad market starts pressuring, buying, or just an important source of uncertainty is removed. Again, the same rules apply to adding to an existing position. You shouldn't add merely because the price is lower. You shouldn't add just to reduce your cost basis, and you shouldn't add because you feel pressure to make the position work, okay? Additional capital should follow additional evidence. It's that simple. That doesn't mean waiting until every risk disappears or you'll never invest, okay? It means the commitment should grow only when the quality of the decision grows with it. When does a position earn less? Okay, a position may need to shrink for different reasons, even when the company remains attractive, okay? That can happen when it grows beyond its intended role, or when the upside narrows, or, when the portfolio just becomes too concentrated in general. For example, my AMD trims fit this perfectly, okay? Long-term thesis hasn't disappeared at all, but trimming reduced exposure, realized gains, and returned capital to the portfolio is just a smart strategy across the board for portfolio management. It's just a sizing decision, not a declaration that AMD is finished or, it's all over. An exit just goes one step further. With LEU, the question was whether the position still deserved the capital and whether the capital could be better served elsewhere. Sometimes the correct size returns to zero. A trim means the stock deserves less capital. That's all there is to it. An exit actually means, it deserves no more capital under the current evidence. Neither decision requires you to hate the company. It's just management decision. So let's tie all this up. Okay, you don't need to identify the perfect stock in advance. You simply need a process that prevents an unproven idea from becoming a portfolio-sized nightmare. Okay, start with the role. What job does the stock actually perform? Then look at the proof. What investment case, has actually earned, okay? Then measure the damage. What happens if you're wrong? And last, preserve capital so that you can act when the opportunity improves. Again, the goal is not to make every position so small that being right doesn't matter. The goal is more so to match the commitment, to the quality of the decision, okay? Position size is earned by evidence. It's not declared by conviction. The stock may tell you what to own. The evidence should tell you how much to own. Okay, guys, that about wraps up the video. My name's Mike, and this is the Bullish Bear Show, and we'll see you in the next one.